In my sermon book, I have a story written in the Reader's Digest. It's a fascinating story. It's the story of a man called Marcel Sternberger, who gets into a train in Brooklyn on the subway, and it's the middle of the day. He'd gone to visit a sick friend who was dying. And he visits the sick friend and takes this train that he doesn't ever take because he doesn't live there. And it's the middle of the day, he's normally at work. And he gets into the train and it's crowded. But as soon as he gets in, one man gets off and there's one seat. He makes a beeline for it and sits down. But the man next to him is reading a newspaper with his arms outstretched. So Sternberger is sort of craning his neck away, but he looks at the newspaper and it's in Polish. And Sternberger understood Polish. So he's starting to read it and he notices the man is reading it from the classified section. So he looks at the man and he says, "Are you looking for a job, sir?" He said, "No, I'm not looking for a job. I'm looking for my wife." He said, "What do you mean? Are you looking to find somebody to marry?" He said, No. I'm from Hungary, Debrecen in Hungary." And he said, "During the war, I was taken away by the Russians to bury the German dead. And by the time I came back, my city had been liberated. But I was not sure whether my wife ended up in a concentration camp in Auschwitz or whether she was liberated. I've had no contact with her. So I've come to America looking for my wife to see if she was liberated and brought here. We have no contact address for each other." And Marcel Sternberger starts to think, you know what? A few days ago, I was in a party. He's talking to himself now. And there was a woman from Debrecen, Hungary, who said she had been liberated by the Allies and brought to the United States. And her husband had been taken by the Soviets to bury the German dead. And he'd written her name down because he said, maybe we'll get together sometime. And he'd written her name down, and then he turns to Sternberger and says to him, "What's your wife's name?" He says, Maria Paskin. Sternberger takes out that piece of paper and it says Maria Paskin, phone number. And then he says to the man, "And what's your name?" He said, "My name is Bella Paskin." He said, "Miss Paskin, please get off at the next station with me. I want to make a phone call for you." He didn't tell him anything. So they get off and they go to a telephone booth. And he dials in, tells the man to stay outside. And after many rings, this woman picks it up. He says, "Who am I speaking to?" And she says, "Maria Paskin." He said, "Maria, do you remember me? My name is Marcel Sternberger." She says, "Yes, I remember you." He said, "Maria, what was your husband's name?" She said, "My husband's name was Bella Paskin." He said, "Maria, you're about to witness the greatest miracle of your life. Hold on." And Bella Paskin comes in and he hands the receiver to him. And he says, "Hello." And Marcel is standing outside the phone booth, and he sees the man slap his forehead and screaming out of control with absolute disbelief, not believing what had really happened. So Sternberger is walking out with tears in his eyes and just thinking of how this all happened. He said, "You know what? I don't take this train. I don't live here. How did all this happen?" And he gave the man some money to go and meet up with Maria. And he ends the article with this. The man writing the article says this: "Skeptical persons would no doubt attribute the events of that memorable afternoon to mere chance. But was it chance that made Sternberger suddenly decide to visit his sick friend and take a subway line that he'd never been on before? Was it chance that caused the man sitting by the door of the car to rush out just as Sternberger came in? Was it chance that caused Bella Paskin to be sitting beside Sternberger reading a Hungarian newspaper? Was it chance, or did God ride the Brooklyn subway that afternoon?" Do you think you're here by accident?